Okay, so I'm very excited to be here, and as I said, it's been a while. And also, having seen the lineup of this Flyless Weekly, I'm very humbled of having been invited. So thank you so much, Katie and James, who's gonna come later. Let me go back here. What's the plan today? It's gonna be a short lightning talk, around 15 minutes, and I'm gonna start with some introductions. Who am I? What do I do? And then I will share the roller coaster of events that happened in the past few months. I'm sure your life has been quite exciting, mine as well, and all the teams around. And then I'll wrap things with a conclusion and some lessons learned, and hopefully some useful tips that if you're planning to run a virtual event or something else you might want to consider. Okay, so let's begin. My name is Carla Gaggini. I've been doing events since 2011, so it's been a while. And I've been lucky enough to explore different industries as well. So I started back in Italy, where I'm from, where I was running an experimental music festival. Then I moved to London and I did some financial summit, then mobile games events, a very weird parenthesis of my life about medical events that I quickly dropped. But the real life-changing moment has been when I discovered the tech community, and I fell in love with it so deeply because I realized that was the environment and ecosystem that I wanted to work with. As you can see, I'm also tiny bit obsessed with Japan. I try to go there as often as possible, you know, when we used to travel at some point. And yeah, the food is amazing, the architecture is amazing. I could talk about that for hours. What am I doing now? I work for a company that is called Container Solutions, and it's a professional services company that specializes in cloud native transformation. So basically we help other companies migrate into the cloud, which is something super technical, obviously, and I don't have a fully technical background, so I don't really get the details. But what we really care about is also share with people that migrating to the cloud and becoming cloud native is much more, and it also affects the culture and strategies of companies. And another thing that happened during the lockdown, I started a new Dungeons and Dragons D&D campaign. So I've dropped some elements in my talk that are very little ones, so you don't have to worry about that. But I think we can begin now without further ado. So let's tell the story. Imagine that in February, together with the rest of my team and Container Solutions, we had a quest. We were a party and we had a very simple quest. We wanted to organize our own events, and then we also wanted to find relevant events to sponsor to basically achieve two main goals. Get new leads for our business and also educate and share valuable content with the community. It's pretty straightforward, there's nothing weird or mad about it. But you know what's coming. It's not like a spoiler alert situation here. The pandemic happened. And as much as I shared, you know, I've done this and that, I've been doing events and blah, 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 I had never run a virtual events before in my life. So basically the first reaction was a bit of panic and questioning my life, my career, and what am I gonna do together with the team. We were a bit lost. But in the end, the goals were always the same, as well as surviving the pandemic, which was quite a crucial aspect as well. But we realized that it was an opportunity also to learn new things and gain new skills. And basically, that's what we did. So we launched a quest within the quest that was researching as much as we could on online platforms, AV production, on pre-recorded meetings, or any aspect that you can imagine related to virtual events. And specifically, we had two strong opportunities that they made us learn a lot. So the first one was co-hosting a virtual conference in April together with a partner. And the second was sponsoring our very first virtual conference. So thanks to these experiences, we were able to analyze both point of views, and we were also able to identify the massive challenges that running virtual events entail. And they are summarized here because the virtual event that we ran was quite a big event, 5 tracks, big speakers. It was quite complicated, but even though we had great content, it was very hard to engage the attendees and to keep them on the screen for so long. And these are conversations that we had together as well in this group. And that's actually why this group was created at the beginning, among other things. And then on the other side of the coin, we got, how do I get visibility as a sponsor? Because it's you're losing that aspect of having conversation, casual conversation, the serendipity of an encounter, like queuing for food or just grabbing a swag, which is also a conversation that is recurring, keep recurring even after several months, because we are talking about April now. But just last week I was at the KubeCon marketing committee meeting, and they still have this kind of feedback. And also because sponsors are sort of suffering this equalizing effect that everybody is in the same position. There's no fleshy booth anymore. So what did we do? Again, we try to take these lessons and do something with it, and that's what happened. We selected our community event, which is called the Software Circus, and really is a circus because it's a conference that was launched in 2015 when we were meeting in person, and it had the purpose of sharing great knowledge as usual, but also make it fun. There was a robot spitting fire, there were a lot of entertaining activities. It was a sort of an hybrid between a technical conference and a festival. And so the challenge was even a bit bigger than normal. But the thing is that we did it. And we also gave ourselves a very tight deadline of 6 weeks, which is the reason of the title of this talk. And it was an incredible team effort that was very well received by the community. It was heavily themed, as you can see. It was everything in Alice in Wonderland themed. And they wrote a couple of blogs about us, that the social were very engaged. And there are 2 pieces of feedback that made us particularly proud. So one, people said that this felt like we were raising the standard of virtual conferences a bit. And the second, which is the one that made me almost cry, is that it almost felt like an in-person event, because there was this community feeling that was very strong. Now, obviously, I'm drawing a very lovely picture because it was my event and it was exciting, but it was far from perfect. There was so much room for improvement. But there is at least some things that we think we did right. And there are some takeaways that I would like to share with you as well. So the main takeaways are that, yes, it's always about the content. And that was a conscious decision that we made, even if it was hard. We did our best to get the best expert in the cloud native ecosystem, and we put a lot of effort in making the event as diverse as possible, giving the opportunity to everybody to participate. In 6 weeks, you can imagine you don't have much time for call for papers. We did it anyway, because again, it was something that we really care about. We wanted to give the opportunity to the community to submit. It was a 1-week CFP, never done it before, and yet we got a lot of valuable submissions that went into the program. People even took the time to write abstracts that were following the Alice in Wonderland theme. It was incredible. We received a poem in the call for papers, like that was rhyming. Very impressive. The second point here is that we spent a lot of time researching the platform that we wanted to use for our event, and there are so many. You've seen them everywhere. We're talking about May here. In the meantime, they are just appearing from one source and the other. So it was very hard. But in the end, we decided to prioritize the event platform that was providing the best networking features. There was an AI matchmaking system. It was very easy to arrange one-on-one meetings between attendees and sponsors and speakers or whoever would join the platform. Again, it was far from perfect. We learned many things about this, but we don't regret the choice to choose this platform. Point number 3, for everybody's sanity who wants to do a virtual event, I highly recommend to go for a professional AV production company. We realized that 2 days before the conference, 48 hours, but fortunately we found the right people to help us that made our life much easier. And I think it's very easy to think that, you know, a virtual event is just another Zoom call. You can manage everything, you can do it yourself. But then the more you investigate, the more you realize that there is live stream to manage. There are like different tracks. We had 3 tracks to manage for this conference. So it was a lot of elements that suddenly they weren't on us anymore, and we could focus on our speakers, on the experience of the attendees. It was another experience for everybody, as organizers included. The final point that I've touched upon a bit is that we chose a strong team. And again, the designers at Container Solutions are incredible, and they did all these amazing things with Alice in Wonderland that then went into the Matrix because it was supposed to be a real event, and then she moved into the virtual world. But the thing is that we were cheeky enough to ask everybody to dress up, all the speakers, and they gladly did it. I think that we had around 30 speakers in total. I think only 2 or 3 didn't dress up in the end. The rest were like, we had like props and hats and bunny ears. It was amazing to see. And we had this room that we call the green room, where we were all together welcoming the speakers before they went live, where we were, you know, sharing costumes, talking about that, and we recreated the kind of atmosphere that you have at events. And as said here, it was a live event. Every talk, except for one for a last minute issue, was live. We had live MCs moderating everything. And I know that it's a much higher risk, but the authenticity that you achieve with a live element is invaluable, and you could feel it on the day. So what's coming next? Obviously, this happened in May 21st. In the meantime, we did many other things in the event team. Some of them are like webinars that we had to learn from scratch, but now we kind of found a nice formula to make them work. We also took a mental health break as a company, because this situation was affecting obviously everybody, so we took some time to pause and relax a bit. That gave us new strength to launch this new initiative that is called What the Fuck is Cloud Native, which is something very exciting we're working on. We're trying to aggregate and create different kind of content that is gonna try to answer this question that apparently is not very easy to answer. And we're gonna produce different white papers, events, podcasts, any kind of format, because one of our goals is also to become as accessible as possible. And then obviously I said before that we learn a lot during the software circus down the rabbit hole, and it was far from perfect, and that's why now we are taking all the lessons that we learn to launch our spooky edition that is gonna happen a couple of days before Halloween. And there's a reason why. Because this time we decided to share horror stories. So every speaker is gonna present the worst thing that happened to them when they were, doing any cloud project, Kubernetes cluster exploding, something that all the data erased. We want to hear all these worst scenarios so the community can learn from them and take away some useful tips. And by the way, the call for papers just open for this. And I know that among you, there are some amazing speakers. So please feel free to submit your talk or just attend for fun. It's a free event, it's a community event, and anybody is more than welcome. One last thing that I want to say is that for this software circus, at the beginning, we really wanted to experiment with a hybrid format. So do the virtual side and the in-person side. After talking with the community, we realized that, first of all, the situation is not getting that much better. And second, people are really not comfortable meeting in person yet. So that is something that we decided not to do. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is because this situation, this opportunity to experiment, I think it's a great gift for us that we should take and make the most of it for the future of events and this kind of gatherings. Nothing is going to replace the human interaction, the in-person interaction, but running virtual events, we've also discovered new opportunities. We've opened new doors. I can only imagine like all the people that we can reach and we weren't able to reach before. All the time zones, people that cannot travel for any reason whatsoever. So it would be really, really a shame not to use everything that we learn for the future of our strategies and events. And that was my closing note. Thank you so much for listening. It's been really, really great. And thank you again, Katie and James. Feel free to ask questions. I can share any detail like platforms, what have we done, what have we used. And yeah, thank you.